Imagine that you're in a crucial rank match of Identity 5. As soon as the game starts, you get chased by that one Bloody Mary. You're pulling off stunts left and right, vaulting windows, dropping pallets like you're in a high-stakes parkour competition, doing a whole 5 minutes of pure, adrenaline-fueled survival. In your mind, you're thinking, I'm the MVP of this game. Just a little longer, get down strategically, and let the last cipher machine pop. Victory is in the bag! But then, shit happens! You finally get downed, and as you lay there, heroically incapacitated while wearing your sunglasses, you glance at the cipher progress. 4 ciphers left. 4! All those stunts and only 1 machine have been done. 2 of your teammates are busy playing Ape Escape and Owl Farming Simulator 2024, spectating the hunter from behind all along. And the decoder? Chilling in the locker because the player went AFK. The match ends in a disheartening loss. Worst of all, it's a promotion match. Perfect disaster, don't you agree? Teamwork makes the dream work in Identity 5. But sometimes, instead of a dream team, you end up with a nightmare squad. No matter how skilled you are, if your teammates are dead weight, you're destined for the dead meat pile. This is an all-too-familiar scenario for survivor mains and even hunters in teamwork-dependent modes like tarot or duo hunters. So, what exactly defines a terrible teammate, and what are the signs? Well, folks, let's find out. A terrible teammate, or terrible teammates if you're really lucky, is the kind of player who seems determined to drag you into the depths of misery by making you lose the game in the most horrible way. They have a variety of methods to achieve this, ranging from playing underwater with Wi-Fi from another galaxy to spamming Yoyo until you rage quit. Not only will they ruin your match, but they'll also do their best to ruin your entire day. Speaking of which, finding terrible teammates in Identity 5 is easier than finding a cipher machine in the arms factory. Just pop into the English 1 channel during rank matches, and you'll witness a festival of finger-pointing and epic rants. You'll see gems like, to the doctor who did a detention basement rescue without Tide Turner, may your toilet gets broke when you're using it. In fact, that's one of the nicer comments. The English 1 channel during rank is basically a live commentary of the world's worst gameplay. It's so lively that you might forget you're there to play rank and instead grab some potato crisps to enjoy the drama. No kidding, by the way. It's a spectacle worth witnessing at least once, if only to remind yourself that no matter how bad your matches are, someone else is having a worse time. Terrible teammates are there to turn your match into a comedy show and your day into a test of patience. They'll have you laughing and crying at the same time, wondering how you ended up with them. Next thing you know, you'll be in the English 1 channel and spouted nonsense, making some others watch hilariously. Despite the frustration, these terrible teammates add a unique flavor to the game, as long as you don't get salty over it. They turn every match into an unpredictable adventure and give you plenty of stories to share in later IDV life. So, the next time you encounter one of these characters, remember, it's all part of the Identity 5 experience. Embrace the chaos and enjoy the ride. Now that we've talked about the terrible teammates, let's find out the 10 signs of terrible teammates. The very first sign of a terrible teammate can be seen before the match even begins. As we all know, there are 4 types of survivors in this game. Well, 30 types actually, but let's just shorten it down to 4. The kiter, the rescuer, the decoder, and the assist. Each type has its own purpose, which I believe I don't need to explain to you all again. But to make this video longer and more ad-friendly, let me show you this picture to give you a glimpse of what the types are. NetEase designed those different types of survivors for 3 purposes. First, to balance the game. Second, to troll us all because, let's face it, the 4 types of survivors are BS. And third, to highlight who the terrible teammates are. In essence, essence, when used correctly, each player can cooperate very well using different types altogether, so it's common sense to use different types of survivors and maximize the chance to win. A well-balanced team has a rescuer, a decoder, a kiter, and a support in a match. It's like the Avengers assembling, each with their unique powers to save the day. Sure, Helena can do it all. But then, she's like that one overachiever in group projects. Impressive, but where's the fun in that? Now, the real question is, what if they play using only one type of survivor? This is where the fun begins, because if you see a team composed of 4 decoders, you might as well start planning your escape from reality. Imagine your team consists of 3 decoders, and you decide to pick a decoder too, thinking you'll open the gate and escape in 2 minutes. Guess what, jackass? It's not you that escapes, it's your brain! Sure, in a fantasy world that one Luca or Tracy might kite the hunter for 5 minutes, but let's hit the grass. That's rarer than finding a hunter who doesn't camp. Most of the time, that random Luca gets terror-shocked in 10 seconds flat, leaving the rest of you headless chickens scrambling in panic, hoping your teammate come to rescue him. Sadly, no one does. Instead, you're all just staring at ciphers, hoping the hunter's Wi-Fi cuts out. Or imagine a scenario where you pick the barmaid, and your team consists of 3 little girls. It's like bringing a bartender to a kindergarten class. Utterly pointless and, slightly concerning. Can you even imagine that? A barmaid trying to sell her alcoholic drinks to kids who are busy playing with puppets? Hey, kids, want a cocktail? Meanwhile, the little girls are like, what's a cocktail? A grape juice. And the barmaid was like, yes, a juice! Whatever. The point is, you give me money and I give you a drink that will make you excited. The little girl be like, yay, I love grape juice! Next thing you know, there's an ambulance and a police car coming to that kindergarten. Netties must be laughing behind their screens every time we end up with a team that's a complete disaster. They've basically given us a personality test disguised as a game. If your team can't figure out how to balance the survivors, then you're the terrible teammate. The next sign of a terrible teammate is when you don't read the chat messages. If you don't have many friends in this game, let's not get into real life here. You'll be playing with randoms most of the time. With them, communication is very important. Thankfully, NetEase provided IDV players with the in-game chat. It's not that effective, since a thank you message can also be interpreted as "buck you," but hey, it's something. Using a bit of common sense and logic, you can communicate well with each other using only that in-game chat. That is, if you read the chat in the first place. But nope, some teammates act like the chat is written in Morse code. They'll ignore "help me" messages, and then wonder why you're mad when they're halfway across the map, decoding while you're getting sent to the moon. The most common one, though, is when you say "don't rescue me" because you're lagging, or the situation is too unbearable to kite a hunter, like being stuck in the basement with Peeper or something equally nightmarish. But these terrible teammates? Oh no! They think they're the heroes we never asked for. They'll gamble their luck and try to rescue you. It's all good if they're a mercenary with Tide Turner. Most of the time, though, it's just a random pharaoh lady who didn't bring Tide Turner waltzing in like, "I got this!" Next thing you know, the hunter's got an extra meal that McDonald's doesn't even offer on the menu. Have you ever met someone who pings everything every 10 seconds? For God's sake, it's so annoying! I get it, reporting the situation is important, but spamming like a maniac? Not so much. I've encountered this type, to be honest. The game starts, and they ping. Focus on decoding. Then they proceed to ping their decoding progress until it's done. After that, it's just another barrage of unnecessary alerts. Beware! The hunter has changed target! Even though the hunter's been chasing me the whole time. And it doesn't stop there. Another minute of spamming follows. Focus on decoding, chest opening progress, item status. I mean, seriously? Why not report that you need to pee too? At this point, the ping button is their new best friend, and we're all just stuck in their personal newsfeed. Another sign of a terrible teammate is when they can't, or worse, don't want to, read the situation. This is especially common in rank matches, and you can find it in the English 1 channel where several angry people vent their frustrations. You'll see messages like, "A random Luca went to rescue from far away even though I was a mercenary and closer." Or, to that random journalist, "May your toilet be broken when you're using it." Basically, those who can read the situation are the ones who have so many hours in this game that their life has subtly shifted into the game itself. Casual players, on the other hand, often can't read the situation. That's why you see them trying to rescue when it's unnecessary, like running in from across the map when a mercenary is nearby. Or a random acrobat decides to decode an exit gate with claustrophobia active, even though the hunter is basically breathing down their neck. The worst of this kind are those who emote at the open gate while their teammate is frantically pinging, "The dungeon is here!" Whether they can't read the situation or just don't care, they'll spam stickers and emotes at the exit gate, leaving their kiting teammate to get sent back to the manor in agony. It's bad enough on its own, but it's even worse, or maybe better, when these randoms get jump scared and fail to exit because the hunter is Mary or Ithaqua. Contrary to the ones who overping everything and try to be paparazzi, there's that one person who never pings at all. Silence is bliss, that's their motto. You sometimes forget they even exist. This is a terrible mistake, by the way, since your teammates can't know what's happening, not just to you, but to the hunter and the whole situation around them. Overpinging is bad, but never pinging is worse. I get that you want to stay focused, but that doesn't mean you need to be silent the entire match. Like, what are you, a bot? Even bots send pings nowadays. Do you ever think about that one random person decoding the last cipher machine while you've been ready to pop it for the last 3 minutes? Or how easy it would be for every decoder if they knew the hunter had changed targets? Worse, how does that one rescuer feel when they go for a save, only for you to snatch the rescue because you didn't report that you were going? Seriously, the only time people want you to stay silent is when you're chaired in the basement with Haster guarding above. No one wants to see you pinging "help me," because, let's face it, you're a goner anyway. Nothing screams terrible teammate like those spamming Yoyo to others. In my opinion, this survivor is the worst of all, ruining everyone's mood and impacting gameplay. The message itself is almost useless, and I wonder why people still use it in such a rude manner. Initially, I used the message to indicate that I wouldn't be able to support the kiter, and they'd have to hold their own. Later on, I removed that message because it often got mistranslated as me being toxic. Just take a good look at it. Down too early? You're on your own. Fail to rescue? You're on your own. What else? Paying 5 ciphers while also decoding 5 ciphers, opening both exit gates, and rescuing 3 different teammates before eventually going down? You bet, pal. You're on your own. These people have turned the Yoyo message into their daily newsfeed, forcing everyone to subscribe. It's all good if they're pros. Most of the time, these Yoyo spammers kite worse than I do. The Stalker is a kind of survivor that exists in many horror games, but only in IDV do they get their special place among survivors. The reason? Ask Eli Clark and Patricia Dorval, because that's how they farm their owl and curse stacks. In almost any match, you'll find these 2 survivors stalking the hunter from behind, trying to farm for their abilities. Like I said before, they're either playing Ape Escape or Owl Farming Simulator 2024. When the priority should be decoding, these total stalkers will follow the hunter from behind, as if they're velociraptors stalking their prey. When they get enough stacks, they'll use them to gain the best deduction. Kind of like vampires if you ask me, but these survivors have taken it to another level by stalking the one who should be hunting them. Total badasses. However, the match itself is ruined because there's only that lone decoder doing all the decoding. If they aren't AFK, that is. So while you're busy being the next Velociraptor, maybe remember that ciphers don't decode themselves. I want to call out those who keep lagging as terrible teammates, but then I remember this game's server rarely gives its players a green ping, so I changed my mind. Instead, let's talk about those who go AFK, especially in a rank match. Honestly, playing rank in IDV, or any online game for that matter, requires commitment like you're doing a full-time job. You've got to avoid any distractions that could force you to go AFK, even for a mere second. That being said, this scenario always happens to me since I open a store while playing IDV. Imagine I'm deep into a rank match, then reality smacks you in the face with, "Excuse me, where can I find the toilet paper?" Next thing you know, your character is chilling on a rocket chair, and your teammates are probably screaming at their screens. And that's just one example. There are other scenarios, like when your mom suddenly calls you or when you desperately need to use the toilet. That sucks, not just for you but for your teammates too. So, please don't play rank matches if you're likely to be interrupted. Or, second option, play rank in the North Pole with a polar bear. Maybe that polar bear can give you some tips on how to kite effectively. In conclusion, unless you have a distraction-free environment or a helpful polar bear on standby, maybe stick to less intense matches. As we all know, Identity V is famous for its cute hunters, who make people want to hug them instead of being scared. It's like they went out of their way to design hunters that look like they belong in a Disney movie rather than a horror game. Kinda reminds me of my Naiad, to be honest. My god, I want to hug that mermaid and protect her from the crazy villagers. It's hard to be terrified when you're thinking, "Ah, look at those big sad eyes and that flowing hair. She just needs a friend." Seriously, how am I supposed to be scared when all I want to do is give her a big, comforting hug? But I wouldn't do that in rank, of course. Instead of hugging her, I just duel with her to the death. Which, well, usually ends with me being the dead one. But my point is, no matter how big you simp for any hunter, please don't bring your personal feelings into rank. That's happened to me several times, to be honest, especially if the hunter is Joseph or Mary. Sometimes, Joseph's fangirls are so buzzing that they are willing to be tied into the basement with him. What the heck? Are they treating rank matches as speed dating events? Hey Joseph, you caught me again! Let's make this quick so we can have some alone time in your room, okay? Lastly, there's the anti-simp, the dark side of the simp. This anti-simp will cause danger to anyone they have a grudge against. For example, if a certain doctor hates the thief because of the lore, she'll do anything to make that thief go down. From dropping pallets when the thief is right behind to vaulting a window just as the thief is about to use it, the anti-simp is like a walking hazard. Oops, did I drop that pallet on your head? My bad. Or, oh, you needed that window? Too slow, thief. I think they're on a personal vendetta mission rather than trying to win the match. Among many characters, there are 3 survivors that always become the target of anti-simps. The lawyer, the thief, and the little gremlin. We all know why the thief and the lawyer are hated, but the little gremlin? Well, I don't get it. I main her. She's cute and adorable, but I admit she has a knack for pushing so many survivors towards the hunter, maybe as much as Norton does. But why is Norton still loved while this little girl is hated? It's a mystery to me. Is it because Norton looks cool while the little girl looks like she just walked out of a haunted doll factory? Or maybe people just have a soft spot for burly minors over tiny troublemakers. It's like, oh Norton, you adorable chaos bringer, we still love you. Meanwhile, the little girl is like, hey, I helped too. And everyone's like, yeah, you helped us fly faster. Now that we've talked about the signs of a bad teammate, let's dive into some first-hand experiences from you all. Big thanks to everyone who shared their horror stories with me. And as always, let's check out the top 3 experiences based on my totally unbiased, highly subjective perspective. Number 3 is from Valerie Yggdrasil. In his story, he managed to decode 2 ciphers and escape via the dungeon, all because his teammates were downright terrible. One went straight to the basement, another got terror-shocked, and the last one? AFK. I mean, it's understandable if you end up in the basement or get terror-shocked. It happens to the best of us. But the one who went AFK? Come on, man. Maybe they rage quit because 2 people were already down with 5 ciphers left, but still, it's infuriating for the one who's left to pick up the pieces. Valerie, though? What a champ. He pulled off decoding 2 ciphers and escaped through the dungeon like a true hero. Glad you made it out, Valerie, because that team sounded like a nightmare. Number 2 is from Citrus. In this tale, Citrus's teammate got rescued but then decided to run straight into the hunter. That's bad enough. But the terrible part? The teammate told Citrus they had rescued from the wrong side. Holy hell! I get that rescuing from the wrong side can make things messy, but that's only if you don't know what to do after the rescue. It's a skill issue, not a side issue. Besides, running right to the hunter after being rescued? Were they so comfortable on the rocket chair that they wanted a second ride? Seriously though, running into the hunter like that, what a way to top off a rescue. Thanks for the laugh, Citrus. And the top story is from Arthur Blizzard. The saga unfolds with Arthur getting double rescued from the basement by none other than Bonbon. Seriously, if the hunter is Bonbon, I'd just say Yoyo and move on, even if I'm right there. Bonbon is a camper's dream, but these teammates were so eager to sacrifice themselves for Arthur's rescue, they might as well have brought a marching band to the basement. I'm not sure what happened next, but I can only imagine the scene. Rescuers getting squished by Bonbon's bombs, and Arthur's left sitting in the basement, wondering why he's the one who gets a front row seat to this epic fail. I bet they didn't even have Tide Turner, right? Seriously, folks, if you are trying to do a basement rescue, at least bring a Tide Turner with you. Still, sometimes, the real show isn't the rescue. It's watching the heroic efforts crumble in the face of an unbeatable camper. Thanks for the epic tale, Arthur! Well, that's all about the random teammates, guys. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!